What's up, everybody? Couch Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video. And in this video, we got a lot of really cool things to talk about. First off, we gotta break down the new guns LIGHTWAVE that got revealed that are gonna be on the Battle Pass, and they look freaking sick, so we're gonna be showing you those. And then we're gonna talk about a big Reddit thread that blew up talking about Viper, where someone proclaimed that she was really strong, and there was a developer going into the comments and answering tons of crazy questions about Viper, where she's most likely gonna be going from here, whether it's buffs or nerfs and different things like that. So we gotta break it all down. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe and watch to the end. And then go to the GameLeap website in the links down below for in-depth advanced guides, tips and tricks, VOD reviews over every single agent. If you really want to surpass your limits and climb to Immortal this next act, you gotta go check it out in the links down below. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. So first off, we gotta showcase the brand new Battle Pack Lease LIGHTWAVE skin, and I'm gonna show you they have one for the Phantom, they have one for the Odin, the Frenzy, and the Bucky is what we know right now. And I'm gonna be honest, these guns look absolutely fucking sick. I think I skipped the last Battle Pass, but this Battle Pass, I might jump on it if these are the skins that are included, because they look really, really cool. I'm getting a lot of 80s and 70s neon vibes, and I, for one, really like it. And there's this Raze spray as well, which actually just looks pretty cool. And personally, I think these skins look really nice, and I would love to see how they fire, what they look like on a player, and we're gonna be breaking that down on this channel, so make sure you smash the like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out. But for now, let me know in the comments down below what you think about these guns. Do you like these skins? Do you dislike them compared to other skins, or do you think they look too similar to some of the other options in the game, like the Prime Collection? I really want to know your opinion about all that in the comments down below. Now, the next big story that we got to talk about is about Viper and the pick rate of agents, plus what agent is most likely going to be buffed or nerfed coming forward. Because there was a big Reddit thread that blew up, and the person who posted it said, Viper mains rejoice. For the first time since the game's release, Viper reaches 50% win rate. And this person talks about how Viper has always had an under 50% win rate and had the lowest in the game before Yoru was released, and she has now a higher win rate than all the other controllers. Now, the source this person was using was the Valorant buff, valobuff.com, which is a way that you use and you look up different pick rates of different agents. But a Riot dev went to the comments and talked about how this might not actually be true, some different data that they know behind the scenes, because he has access to the pure numbers, and we can speculate what is gonna most likely be buffed or nerfed after the fact. So let's run it all down, because I think a lot of you are really interested in what character is gonna be hit next. So Riot Devil Tombre said this, quote, the data on most of these third-party sites look very different than the data we use internally. Oftentimes due to sample size, incomplete sample population, like opting in to share your status via some collector apps, or data biases, like not controlling for mirror matches. I take a lot of this stuff with a grain of salt for now until the ecosystem gets built out a little bit more. It just takes a while to get all the tools online and accurate. Happy to go into more detail around some of this stuff, but wanted to drop a few anecdotes from our internal environment. Viper is actually 50% win rate now for the first time. That is actually correct. Viper isn't the highest win rate controller. Brimstone is actually, but it's very close. Viper's pick rate is a good bit lower than 50%. It's gone up since the buffs, but she's still more of a niche pick overall. So we could probably guess like 25 or less, but not really tiny, like 5% or maybe even 1% in some ranks as it was before. Now, there was a lot of speculation about Brimstone's pick rate being different between higher and lower elos and win rate and things like that, but Altambre went in again and clarified everything, stating this, quote, Brimstone's win rate is actually higher than Viper's across all MMR, with the exception of high elos like top 2% where Viper wins out. Good theory, just less focused on, quote, Brim is better in low elos and more Viper is good in the super high elos. It's also super close. I'd expect Viper will probably overtake Brim in a patch or two as players master her kit even more. Regarding Skye and Astra, I can give my take, but the best person to ask would be the head of the agent team. For purely my opinion, Skye is inherently a very supportive agent who relies on teammates to extract a lot of her value from her abilities, and Astra is a big brain agent that scales on coordination, game knowledge, and creativity, so we've always expected them to be more of the niche end for agent picks. That's okay. We're always thinking about if there are major ways to improve the experiences that we have on live though, so that doesn't mean we wouldn't want to explore tweaking aspects of them in the future if we think that it would make a more healthy / fun to play option. Now basically what all this means is that there are some characters that when they create, they understand they're going to be niche because of the synergy aspect, and they don't want to buff them to the point where they're so powerful and they get a giant amount of pick rate, because then that would make them way too overpowered in the synergy aspect, but they do understand that some characters are just really unfun to play for ranked, and they wouldn't mind tweaking those aspects to make them healthier or more fun to play / play against, so that they're just a more enjoyable character overall. But that's not necessarily talking about the balance of the character. That's just talking about what they want to do to just make the game more enjoyable. Now, the next question was about win rate, and Altambre responded saying that Astro is looking pretty healthy as far as their win rate is concerned, below 50%, but not too far off. And then the next question was specifically about Breach, which is definitely a polarizing character. The question was, are you allowed to reveal whether Breach really does have the second lowest win rate behind Yoru, like Valorant buff claims it does? And Altambre responded saying this: yes, this is true. Breach's win rate is pretty low, but better than Yoru. Player surveys also have him as the most frequently selected overpowered agent, so it's an interesting dichotomy. And this is really, really important right here, guys, because it really goes to show that even though Breach has such a low win rate, people that are playing Breach are really not winning that much games. They're winning second lowest, second only to Yoru, and people just across the board think this character is overpowered. Now, there are multiple things to think about when we talk about this. The first thing that we need to think about is Breach is a character that is way more synergistic, so it falls into that category of people like Sky and Astra, where they're okay with his win rate being low. That being said, when people think he's completely overpowered, I think that really comes from the fact that a really good Breach can sometimes feel like a complete stomping. You feel like you're getting flashed, you feel like you have very little counterplay, and it ingrains in your mind in a way that just feels like you can't do anything about it, but that player, that Breach player, isn't going to be able to set that up all the time. They need players to play around them. They need some sort of combo that you're not always going to find in ranked. And that is why Breach probably has a low win rate, even if when you lose to a Breach, it feels absolutely oppressive and you're more likely to check that overpowered section. So this is one of those scenarios where maybe Riot would look into it and say, hey, that's not fun to play against. That doesn't really feel that good from either perspective. So let's actually make Breach less synergistic and let's lower down his power level in some ways, but increase it in others. That could be a hypothetical that we could see in the future, but for now I think Breach is fine, but it's just something to keep in mind. This is a perfect example of a character that they could rebalance in that way. Then the next question was about Reyna. The person asking the question said this: can you please tell us how the Reyna nerf impacted her win rate? Is Sage again at the top in terms of win rate? And also, have you thought of making this data publicly available? Altambre responded saying this: it impacted her win rate fairly in line with our hopes, reduced her win rate in lower MMRs while keeping her fairly the same at higher MMRs. Yeah, Sage is still at the top in terms of win rate and play rate by a pretty good margin. Publicly available data is more of a comms thing than a data thing, but it's something that we've talked about. That's actually really interesting that the nerf that they actually put on Reyna did exactly what they wanted her to do. They still made her an absolute powerhouse at the higher ranks, but they definitely decreased her win rate in the lower ranks when she's more of a Smurf-based character that could just stomp the lower ranks. And I do think that that's pretty cool that it actually worked out exactly how they wanted. And I do notice that Sage is at the highest in win rate, as he said, but that was something that they talked about before when they really nerfed Sage really hard in the past. They're like, hey, she has the highest win rate, we nerfed her, but everyone got really mad about it and Sage didn't see a lot of play, even though behind the scenes they had all this data to support it. And we had a big discussion about whether or not data should directly reflect what things need to be buffed or nerfed, but that's of course going to be different depending on your personal opinion, and that's a whole nother discussion that I'm not even going to get into in this video. Now, we also mentioned some other things in this video talking about the fact that they want to find a balance between ranked and pro matches. They want to make sure not to over buff something to the point where it's dominant in pro matches just so it can be played in ranked, and they also don't want to make a character playable in pro matches just to have to buff it so hard so that it's dominant in ranked. They don't want to do either of those things. They're trying to find a happy medium, and characters like Sky and characters like Breach and Astra, these are all characters that they have their eye on because they're a lot more synergy based, and they do have a giant discrepancy between pro pick rate and ranked pick rate. Now, last up, we got to talk about Brimstone, a character that is most likely not going to get any changes. They said that while there could be tweaks, they're pretty happy with his place right now, and we will expect to see a lot of other characters. He specifically said that there are multiple other characters that they have their eye on right now. So we can expect to see some big buffs and nerfs going forward, but right now we don't exactly know what those characters are. If I would have to guess, most likely this includes characters like Jet and characters like Yoru. Jet has the possibility of getting reworked in a giant way because she's just been a dominant character for a long time, and I wouldn't be surprised if she is someone that they're considering. And Yoru, of course, because he's just way underpowered. But definitely let me know what you think characters should be buffed, nerfed, or changed in the next act. I definitely want to know your opinion about all that in the comments down below. But go to the GameLeap website in the links down below for high quality, in-depth, advanced guides, VOD reviews, tips, and tricks. We got so much damn content on the GameLeap website. You gotta go check it out right now in the links down below. But that's all I got for you today. Thanks so much for coming by. I love your faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.